Exceptional.
Outstanding. I did better.
From failing, you learn. From success, not so much.
I gave up every time I failed. I never would have made the meatball cannon.
I never would have made my fireproof pants. Still working out the kinks.
Like my husband always says.
All right, good people. All right. So, if I get this thing to stop. I know you was ready for that one, Stephanie. I know.
What's up?
Hey, what's going on, people? This is the Door to Expansion. I am your host, Maranthony Hubbard, the owner and founder of Speak to My Heart Life Coaching. So, for everybody who don't know what life coaching is, let's see a simple way of saying this. I'm your accountability partner. I think I can go with that. You know, I'm here to help you obtain the goal, reach the goals that you have set for yourself. And the first thing I probably would ask you is, what's your purpose? What is your preferred picture of the future? What are your values? And then I'll just let you know, if you can't answer those questions right there, you don't have a clear vision. So with Speak to My Heart Life Coaching, that's what we're going to be, that's what the main purpose and the goal of it is to make sure you have a clear vision on where you need to be and where you're trying to go, and then obtain those goals. Simple enough for me. So I'm going to turn this over to my co-host.
Hey there, Stephanie Hollins Passmore, marriage and family therapist, licensed mental health counselor. Here in the Pacific Northwest, I'm the solo practitioner for the Narrative Shift Counseling and Consultation. I am privileged to work with families and individuals from young kiddos to older adults. I help individuals navigate rough waters. And, helping them to find or create new pathways. I facilitate healing. That's what I do.
Facilitate healing.
Yeah. For the healing process to occur. I'm not like discipleship, hands-on, laying of hands.
Put that hand on you. Boom!
But I facilitate the process. So, yeah, that's what I do.
All right. So, good people, we are here for this topic right here, part of the Who Am I series. And so we done dealt with a lot of different things. On this show right here, we're going to start talking about why I choose what I choose. And during our community, our Facebook community, we stated we all make choices in our lives pertaining to relationships, employment, how we dress, our homes, our cars, all that. And then it's primarily based on the mindset in which we have at that time. And so some factors which we may make our decisions include the interests, the skills, the values, the locations, and education and training. So I posed the question to everybody, what would you do different if you could do it over again? But then I said, instead of that question right there, I would like to ask, if you reviewed the decisions you have made over your life, were they a fixed mindset or was it a growth mindset? And then whenever we start breaking down a fixed and growth mindset, a fixed mindset basically states that I'm in this position and I won't grow or do anything better. So it is what it is type thing. And that growth mindset is basically you properly planning yourself and putting yourself in different situations so you can grow. So that was the question that was posed to everybody in this week's community topic right there. And we got a few people that had some good feedback in there, and they gave us some different examples on, hey, this is where I was, and yes, I think I'm growing now. So we'll start off with this question to you, Stephanie. Why do you think that people have a fixed mindset?
Why do people have a fixed mindset? Well, I feel like mindset is very situational, whether
Okay.
it's time, place, person, just a present moment. Mindset. I've created my own definition. It's a shift. It's the narrative of where you've been, where you are in the here and now, into where you're going. It's mindset is always shifted. It's like an ongoing, continually planning. It's a process. And I think individuals stay fixed in a mindset because of what they're familiar with. Failure has been part of their pattern. So if no one's speaking life into them, or they're not speaking life into their situation, they remain in a fixed mindset.
So at what point in time do you think people go into that growth mindset?
When do they go into the growth mindset?
Or is it something that, well, because you kind of mentioned that yes, that on a fixed mindset, we all have that fixed mindset at some point in our lives. But whenever we get into some of the things that people have shared on there, we'll break down on what exactly made them make that switch to say, you know what, I'm gonna leave this mindset right here and I'm gonna go into this growth mindset.
From fixed mindset to growth mindset, I think it happens when we actually have someone speaking life into us, when someone provides encouragement or give new perspective. It's, seeing our successes, our failures as successes, looking at the potential of things. Feedback is, when there's constructive feedback. And I think it just comes with, age and time.
And I think that's one of the biggest ones right there, the age and time portion of it. Because I think but we also know that even some of our older people, they can have that same fixed mentality too. So, I think it's a toss-up more than anything. Let's see here. So we'll jump into some of these, some of the things that people have mentioned. Let's see here.
I think they talked about different relationship choices.
Yeah.
Talked about career path, how they would have sought mental health earlier, sooner, taking better care of themselves emotionally and physically. Someone even stated to live life without restriction, which that's a hard one to get rid of as a fixed mindset.
Yeah, so here, this one right here, our first one right here, I would choose a different career path. Wasn't exposed to other options as a child, even to realize that they could pursue other options. And yet again, we started looking at our environment. We start looking at the people that we hang around. We start all these different things, all these different factors that would stop us from being something greater than what we are. So that would be one of those limiting factors to say, yes, I have a fixed mindset because that's all I know.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, and I went back and asked the question, is well, is the reason why that you had that fixed mindset, clearly it was because of those different factors that you had. But how have you overcame those obstacles, and the fact that, all right, they said if you know better, you do better.
Mm-hmm.
And he came back and was well, some of those opportunities were closed now due to some other factors that came up within his life. But at the same time, at least you can go and express that to somebody else. So you got the nuggets. You understand what's going on. So now you can go and pass that to somebody else, so they can get out this same mentality.
Yeah. From my family of origin, most individuals still live in our small town community. No one has really moved away, not even 100 miles outside of the little county we're from, and for me, it was just sometimes I wake up and I'm is this really my life? I'm not that little country girl from Sulphur Springs, Texas, have experienced, different culture, people, the potential. I could see potential. So, yeah. I'm just surprised with myself and like rising to the occasion of experiencing something more.
And now, whenever you go and talk to, your own kids, or whenever you talk to family members or any other people, now you can actually give them a different perspective. So now, instead of you growing up in that little small town, it's the only thing people know. And then once you kind of broke that mold, it's just like, oh, it's a whole nother world out there.
A whole nother world.
Yeah,
Came to this small island, Oak Harbor. Yeah.
Let's see. Here's another one. Started career earlier. Didn't know my department will pay for training. And this one goes back to this is one of the ladies I know. She's a police officer, and she was whenever she knew that she can get involved in different things, but she didn't actually know. So yet again, we come back to that same predicament as if something is hidden from you, you don't know about it, so you want to go after it. And so she did say as soon as she learned about what was going on, she applied for that position. So yet again, her mindset shifted to that growth mindset, thinking, okay, then now I can move on with my life and I can do something bigger and better.
Yeah, and that goes back to what I was saying about mindset being situational. So there in her workplace, like no one was really sharing that information, and nor did she know to ask, right? To see what resources were available. So when we don't ask, or we don't, like if you don't ask questions, or if you don't understand, if you don't know that resources exist, then you'll continue to think like, okay, I'm stuck in my position.
Well, I always tell people, a closed mouth don't get fed. So
everything.
So, so Mr. Carlos is on with us today, y'all. He said, "What's up? What's up?" He said, "Perfect." Carlos and his talking. He said, "Perfectly said, and yes, sir, you have my permission to use my name." Oh, but then he had to follow back up, and this is Carlos. I'm glad he, said that, because since it only had a Facebook user up there, and he said he regret not truly applying himself in life. And how many of us can actually say that we really haven't applied ourselves enough, because we don't understand ourselves enough to apply ourselves. If that makes any sense.
Or like that fear of failure that keeps us very hesitant to push forward. Oftentimes we don't exercise ourselves enough to go through a challenge or a struggle. We want to rely on that comfortability and what's familiar, because that unknown, and to even understand the struggles or things that we have to push through, like, no, that's too hard to do. So yeah.
Well,
but just recognizing that potential should be the motivating factor. Like, if you're like a big picture person, but just aren't comfortable with process, like transition and change, that'll keep you from even putting one step forward.
I mean, how many people go to a job every day that they don't like? They complain about it all the time. And then you ask the same question, why do you continue to go there to that same position? And the first thing it is, they'll probably say, well, because that's what I have. And I already know what's on this side right here. Ain't no reason for me to go and jump ship to go to somewhere else. And I don't know what the problem is over there. So I always come back to the person and be like, well, why are you complaining about it? If you already know and you won't change anything about it, just stop. And that's where we have that fixed mindset that, all right, like you mentioned, this is my lane. I'm going to stay in my lane. I don't want to look for the growth. And whenever you do look for that growth, look at everything that you're right. Most people don't want to go through the storms. You know, whenever they sit down and get on their knees and act in prayer and be like, Lord, get me out of the storm. It's like, no, I'm not going to, I want you to experience the storm, because whenever you come out of the storm, it might be a different situation that was needed in that storm for you to handle this. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people just be like, nah, you know what, if I got to go through the storm, just screw it. I'm good. I'm good.
How many people actually gonna get on their knees and pray for more than that needed prayer time to find the resource, to grab the answer, to find the strength to move forward?
You know what? It's funny that a lot of people do whenever they're having troubles.
That's true. but that's like the last response for a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's that fear response. Yeah. That, oh, save me now, because I done made the wrong choice. So, yeah.
Because I thought I knew what I was doing.
I just stick to what I know and see where that got us.
So you had mentioned this one right here. I would make different relationship choices, and I do now. I would live with fewer restrictions, still within the boundaries of my faith, but with more abandon, as I am learning to do. And that right there, that one right there really speaks volumes right there. It's like, I understand, I know, I came through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have to like really, especially with those relationship choices, like know your circle, you know. I'm so big now on like, you know, I'm protecting my peace, and I should have just kept it at hello. It kept on going.
Hey, when you learn, whenever you learn, you do better.
Oh yeah. You know, people influence your mindset. So think about who you're being influenced by and impacted by, because that helps in creating a mindset.
It does. And I mean, how many people want to be around a negative person all the time? You know, if you're a negative person, I probably don't really want to deal with you too much, because it's not the fact that you're going to bring me down, but then, you know, you get to that saying, two birds of a feather flock together. So if everybody know you a negative person, they're going to automatically assume that you're going to be a negative person. And as much time as you spend trying to brighten this person's day up, it's going to be a lot of time that you're going to lose out on your own self. And you won't do anything except drain your energy trying to motivate this person. So, you know, I'm under the thing that, you know what, if I give you some advice, some recommendations, or if I can give you a nice word, you know, you mentioned earlier, speaking life into people, then that's what I want to do. But then if you just, you know, kind of continue to just throw me out and just be like, yeah, I ain't trying to hear all that, guess what? I can move on.
Mm-hmm. And even with, you know, surrounding yourself, knowing your circle, not everyone is for you. And so individuals who have their own motive or agenda for you, they will take you off your focus. You'll be, you know, so hyper vigilant about what this person, questioning, wondering what their motive is for you. They will take you off your purpose, your focus. Yeah, you'll exhaust yourself to where you won't have a mindset at all, a perspective at all. So, yeah.
Yeah, Carlos put on that truth. And it's bad. It's bad. You know, we all always want to carry somebody to a greater height. In my mind, that's what I always want to do. I want to pull you along to make sure you know, excel. But most people are not ready for that. You know, so whenever that first question I asked you about, how or when do a person experience that fixed mindset to that growth mindset? If you're still in that fixed mindset, and then you study seeking and trying to look for help, and then when people give that assistance to you, and the first thing you keep going back to is, well, that's the way it was always done, or This is what I know. So this is what I'm gonna do. This is how I'm maintain. What's the purpose of seeking help if that's the mentality that you're gonna have? Because like I said, you're not gonna do nothing but burn the other person out, and they don't want to help you at all.
But in our profession, life coaching and therapy, we have to meet people where they are.
True. So in coaching, and I am a big proponent of this one here, is whenever I sit through my consultation with you, the first question I really want to know is, are you willing and are you ready to make this change? Well, hold on. I don't like to use the word change. Are you ready to make this transition?
Because transition has to happen before change can occur.
There you go.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, and they say, yes, I'm ready for the journey. Let's go. Let's do it. I'm here with you. I'm gonna hold you accountable. But whenever I do start saying you slip back, I'm gonna hold you accountable for that. And then if I still see you going back, that's whenever we had a conversation is, have you stopped trying? Are you not ready to do this? And if so, why? And then we'll continue on. And because everybody is not ready for it. You know, and we can always come back and be like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna stop drinking. And 2 months go by, you ain't drinking. Next thing you know, you have a sip, have another sip. Next thing you know, you back on the wagon. Now, am I gonna throw that person off because they did that? No. I want to find out what's the purpose. Why did you go back to it? And then once we realize that, then revisit the question. Are you ready to continue on? Or do you want to stop right now? And then we come back to it, you know? So, and that's on the coaching side. Now on the counseling side, I mean, you could be different though.
Yeah, you know, I meet people where they are. Like I don't necessarily I tell my clients, you are in control of the pace of therapy. I can't create the agenda. That's not me. I don't even provide a solution. I help them to come to their own aha moments.
Yeah.
So meeting the client where they are, letting them keep the pace, set the pace, and I'm just helping to facilitate. If growth occurs, congratulations, we're moving on to the next thing. I'm just there to be that cheerleader. So, and I understand people experience being stagnant, feeling some hesitation, really processing things at their pace. So I can't rush that process for anyone.
So we had another viewer that popped in. Oh, Mr. Freddie. Mm-hmm. Hey, welcome for joining us today, Freddie. Hey, if you got any questions or comments or anything like that, feel free. And then Mr. Carlos, he put in here, this is crazy how show topics keep going along with one another. This is good. And Carlos, we're gonna get back to you because we're gonna shout you out in a little bit. So yes, you're right. All right, today's show that Mr. Carlos had on the Back to the Basics was about being planted. And it's amazing that he was talking about being planted because I just did a little blog discussing about being planted and being rooted. And a lot of people would always want to move too far, too fast. But whenever me and him, we had a discussion about being planted and rooted. And just like our show, whenever we had to come back out and redo it again, you know, you have to have that moment of darkness. You got to go in the dark to understand who you are as a person. And, you know, whenever we start looking at this series right here, Who Am I? That's where it actually came from. Because you can't continue to move and be seen by everybody and then think something is going to change. You got to go in there, take some time for yourself, and then say, hey, you know what? All right, now I know who I am. And whenever I come back out, they're going to see the results of me spending that time alone and doing what I need to do.
That's good.
So yet again, we talking about that growth mindset. On that fixed mindset, it was the way I've always done it. So I'm going to continue on doing that thing. But that growth mindset basically saying, you know what? Hold on for a minute. Let me turn the lights out real quick. And I'm going to do my thing. And whenever I come back, you're going to see the fruits of the labor. So.
But you don't see how rooted or how strong those deep roots are. Now that's the process right there.
Yeah. And yet again, we say that on a couple of different shows. Whenever we start talking about people saying, you know what, I want what they got. Are you sure? It's always good to look at somebody, and I like when people say that to me, like, man, I wish I could be like you. And it's like, I take that as a compliment because apparently I'm making it look easy to you. Mm-hmm. But you don't understand what it took for me to get to this point right here. So we can walk through the process, and I can get you to a point where you need to be at. You don't want to go on the same journey. So yeah, let me help you avoid some of the pitfalls. But at the same time, if you really want what I got, then you're gonna have to go through the storms.
Yeah.
Those trials and tribulations, those obstacles will pop up. And are you willing to withstand them and jump over the hurdles to get what it is?
Yeah. Can you stand the rain? Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, I thought you were gonna hit the high note too.
Can't do that. I could barely do what I just did.
Let's see. We have another one on here. Okay, then. We started talking about mentality. One thing I would have done a little differently was take better care of myself mentally and physically. While in the military, I would have sought out some mental health care sooner. Of course, being in the military and being on the civilian side, it's still all the same. And the fact with this mental health care, the stigma is so much out there that if you go and seek care, then you must be crazy. But then I'm quite sure in all of our professions, coaching, counseling, therapy, all that, we're going to say you must be crazy for not trying to come get this assistance. So, it could be a play on words or whatever, but at the same time, it's like you don't understand why you're going through this, and you're going to continue to go through it. That's crazy to me.
And why not, just get perspective? That's what therapy, that's what coaching is about. It's about perspective. You don't necessarily have to be in a life crisis to seek out counseling or even life coaching. You don't have to be in a crisis. Maybe you just want some direction. So no, there's no such thing as crazy.
Oh, I'm crazy. I'm telling you, I am crazy. All right. You ain't gonna tell me I ain't.
Oh, you official. Official diagnosis.
What's the self-diagnosis?
Self-diagnosis.
So to go back up with that point, let's see. She had mentioned I definitely adjusted to a growth mindset because I did go back and ask that question. The reason why she didn't seek that assistance was it because that she had that fixed mindset, and she kind of basically said yes, and then she came back with this. Adjust to that growth mindset before I would consider any failure. I had always had an opening for more failure, and I was very hard on myself. Now I'm more accepting of my faults, and then working on it. And
that's that self-awareness right there.
Yeah. And yet again, we go back to that growth mindset, meaning, hey, look, I accept failure. The only way every time I fail, I'm really succeeding. And a lot of people,
success. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people don't want to see it that way, though. They just be like, I failed, so I'm going to stop, and I'm going to stop doing. Well, no, you found out the reason what you can't do, so you move on to the next thing.
Or could it be that saving grace that, created, set you up for not to have a downfall, further up your path. So, yeah.
I be teaching these employment classes, and I always tell people, I say, hey, man, how do you like most people don't like the word no or rejection of any kind. I said, but sometimes you need those words to make you strive and do better. And, I got a folder list of all the people who said no whenever I was applying for my job. And I was just like, you know what? Here, maybe it was something on my resume that I needed to tweak. Maybe if I went on this interview and I must didn't say the right thing, but it challenged me. And I was like, I'm up for this challenge right here. So I went in there and I did what I had to do to continue moving on. But I accepted it. And with that growth mindset, I'm already over here. I'm thinking right here, and I'm really here. And we was talking about the code switching, the imposter syndrome, and faking it till you make it. Not really. I'm preparing myself. Mm-hmm. So as long as you prepared, then with that code, the code switching and imposter syndrome, you basically wipe that out because you are prepared.
Yeah, with the growth mindset, we're just finding new ways to posture ourselves in life. You're in part of a system, so what doesn't work, you just figure it out a different way.
Yeah, easily.
And oftentimes we have to reboot or restart from time to time.
Let's see. But you know what? Sometimes that's a problem with a lot of people. It's that rebooting. So they'll reboot and then they'll stop instead of continuing on, trying to find out and work it out. So I was counseled to look like straightened hair. Oh, that was a different one there. Yeah. So those were some of the comments and stuff that we have received on this topic right here, which I think was, perfectly fine and really helped a lot, because now you actually see that the reason why, like we mentioned earlier, the reason why people have these fixed mindsets is because that's the only thing they know about. And for me, that growth mindset usually comes with, of course, age, because now you're more mature. You start having different people that's interacting with you. Hopefully you're in the right circle of people to interact with you positively. And then you move on and grow from there. And you want more because you start seeing what else is out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wrote down like the mindset is orchestrating and initiating perspective, it's modeling perspective, it's responding to perspective, it's sustaining long-term shift in perspective. Mindset is about going someplace. It's about bringing the future into view through the acts and choices of today.
Okay. So you know what? That was your quote right there. So you don't get no quote at the end.
What? I was like, that's what I was. We so in sync. I was like, that was it. That was the quote for the day.
So at the end, whenever I ask you have any follow-up, you can say, you can read it again if you want, just in case somebody missed it.
Okay. Look, I'm highlighting right now. Okay.
Oh boy. So for all our viewers out there, if you got any questions or comments, go ahead and type in the comments, or you can give us a call or whatever. We want to know about what are y'all thoughts about this topic, fixed mindset versus that versus basically I would call it a progressive mindset. How are you, or tell us how you have changed in your way of thinking, the reason why you changed. I mean, because certain things happen to certain people on the reason why they change. I was reading this one book, and it says for some people to change, they have to go through a life-altering thing. So, they might be on a deathbed, and next thing you know, they come back, and now they change. They'll change for that. Or, it's just certain things. Basically what they call is the tipping point. You done went so far down in your life, and it's just like, I need to do better. Mm-hmm. It's just not one of them things that'll come up and be like, oh, you know what? Tomorrow I'm going to change this right here. How many people just go on a diet because they just feel that it's just something they need to do. You know what? Doctor told me I'm suffering from this, or I'm feeling sluggish, or whatever. Now you change. So
I think I had shared with you like when that nurse called me and said, "Oh, it's bad." Like you can't eat nothing. Just drink water. I was like, oh man, so this is serious. Like, okay, diet and nutrition, exercise. This is serious. This is like not life changing, life ending if I don't do it.
life ending.
And then as soon as I got some good news, like your numbers are down, where did I go? Straight to Dairy Queen and got me a medium blizzard because
See?
still don't want to act right. Still don't want to do right.
So yet again, we start talking about change and transition.
I'm drinking water now.
Good on you.
Drinking water and minding my business and reading my Bible with my legs crossed. That's what I've been doing.
I just like how you had to throw all the extra stuff in there too.
Because I am extra, Maranthony. You know this. I know our viewers gonna be like, and what that has to do with shifting perspective and a mindset.
What? It has a lot to do with it because you had to go, like we was talking about. You had the stuff that probably didn't happen to you, anybody that didn't happen to them. Then once they get up to this point right here, it's like, now I have to switch. I need to switch for the common good. And usually the common good is to make your life better. I mean, as a young person, how often do we just go out and spend our money on shoes and all this other stuff? And then next thing you know, I mean, especially being in the military, how many E1s to E3s out there that went and bought this nice fancy car? They can't afford the insurance. They can't afford to put gas in there. I mean, boom. And next thing you know,
19% interest.
if not higher. And then you'd be like, hey man, you want to go out and eat? I ain't got no gas money. I ain't got no money to spend on food. So I'm gonna sit right here. I'm gonna drink this water. Hopefully I got some crackers in there or some bread that's gonna expand my belly up.
The gallon.
But then you get older and you be like, man, I was like an idiot. And then you started doing better.
I think back to when we came into the military, from the time we started out as, that airman recruit, seaman recruit, up until retirement, most, if they were had good mentorship, good leadership, financial education, you can retire on a hefty nest egg,
Yeah.
Just wasn't thinking. It
was funny because when I first joined, I was like 19, and this one guy told me, he was like, hey man, just put up a little portion of your check behind, and every time you make rank, just take that money, push it to the side, because you're already living off this one thing. So you don't need that money. In one ear and out the other. And then you look back on it and be like, well, dang, if I would have done that, look where I would have been at. So, yet again, I had that fixed mindset that this is what I want and this is what when I want it. Yes, I was saving money in there, but I could have been they actually have a program called $1 Million Saver. And they would teach you through finances and savings and all this other stuff, how you can become a millionaire after you leave the military service. And all the same stuff that guy was telling me was same stuff that they teach you in this course, and boom. But I can tell everybody now, I am not a millionaire. So did I listen to that advice? No, I did not.
No, because you failed to take on that feedback. You failed to listen or try new things or a new way of doing something. You just stick to what you knew.
Yep.
Mm.
But now, as I've got older and wiser, and now I understand. And what do? I go and push that information out to other people to say, hey, look, this is what you can do. And you don't have to, you ain't got to, what's that, ball on a budget. Let your budget dictate to what you do. You don't
I
really
don't
need
even
to ball
think we
out all
call
the
them
time.
budgets, do we? We call them in the military. Y'all know y'all waffles be calling them spending plans, not budgets.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want a budget. You just want to understand where your money is going.
Mm-hmm. I know where mine was going. McDonald's drive-through, Dairy Queen drive-through, Wendy's 4 for 4, Starbucks, Whippy Coffee.
Hey, sometimes, you know, I tell a lot of people, and I stole this quote from my this little saying from my dad. Sometimes we need to break that left window, because that left hand be sticking out that window so much at that fast food place. You just be like, man. So you need to break that window and put a piece of tape up there so you can't get out there no more.
Look, this is me just grabbing bags. Oh, can I have a cup hold? All of that, because it's so bad that when I go through the drive-through for coffee, they were like, "Why they already got it?"
They just hear your voice and automatically just pick it up.
White chocolate mocha with raspberry, sugar-free, whipped cream, iced and hot, tuna wrap, honey barbecue, Lay's potato chips, yeah, and a peanut butter bar.
Here's a comment. They said not the cross legs, and then say 4 for 4. Yeah.
Because you be thinking like that ain't nothing, $4, but times 5 times 6.
Yeah, watch it add up. Watch the weight add up, and the deductions out of your account.
That's what I was looking at the statement. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Look, what I spend on takeout, that's a car note, okay?
Hey, but you know what? But sometimes, you know, we have to sit and look at it. And I think Carlos had mentioned it on his show earlier, that it's a blessing to be where we are, so we can do that. You know, he was sitting up there talking about the cereal and stuff. You know, coming up. Hey, it was many a days that my mom went in there and grabbed them cornflakes, and I was like, Mom, is there any kind of way we can get them Frosted Flakes? Boy, some sugar in there. Don't put that sugar on there.
Look, they want to do it like I grew up like with my grandmother watching us through the day, and boy, like I go to somebody else's house, they have like pops. They got the Frosted Flakes, the Rice Krispie, you know, frosted Rice Krispie. I got my grandmother used to call them posties or something like that.
Yeah, get them in a big bag.
And then she'd get a big giant bowl, because it was 3 of us, and she pour it in a big old one of them big white stir bowls. Pour it, mix the milk, sugar, do this, and then portion it out. Like, and cut them little party pizzas that Carlos was talking about, them little party pizzas. He called them Tony's, those Totino's.
Yep.
You know it ain't but this. My grandmama, I don't know how she did it, but she cut that pizza up in pieces like it just went forever and ever. And I'm like thinking, that little old pizza, you know, our folks was making it work back then.
Yeah.
I don't think our generation, like, we don't really know what it is to like really struggle, like how our parents had to struggle through and just make things happen. Nah.
But, you know, and it goes back to the same topic right here, you know, being self-aware, and then that growth mindset. So now we seen what it was like. So now it's like we don't want our kids to see that. But at the same time, you have to start thinking about it. I don't want them to see that. I don't want them to struggle like I had to struggle. But look what reality you putting in their head. So, you know, a lot of people be like, oh, well, you know, These kids walking around with cell phones. Well, who bought the cell phone for them? You bought it for them. So, yes, it's with all the stuff that you want to sit and complain about, these kids got it from you. So why are you not complaining to yourself about this? You know, so whenever their kids get older, they're going to be like, oh, y'all had a cell phone, and no telling what new product that they might have.
Mm-hmm.
But
because we modeled that mindset for them.
Yeah. So what if you did have your kids sharing that same bowl of cereal and all that?
Well, you know, with my 3, that ain't happening. Let me tell you something. The viewers probably think I'm crazy anyways, but like yesterday, like Marcus was home and my son was home, and so I'm out doing my Walmart shopping, and so I was like, the Subway is in Walmart, so I'm like, I'm just gonna pick up sandwiches. I'm like, okay, that sandwich is like $13. I'm like, I'll give me a 6. I got me one, like a little sandwich from like the little menu where they have the little sale for $2 or something.
Yeah.
So I give me that, and then I get them a foot long. So when I brought lunch home, they were like, whose sandwich is that? I said, that's your sandwich, y'all's sandwich. They didn't talk to me for the rest of the day. Like,
hey,
we and trying to share a sandwich.
Hey, I'm surprised you didn't do it like it was pretend like it was a party sub and then have them just split it like 4 different times. Everybody got a little corner of it.
Next time. Look, and then go ahead and do the little circle.
Yeah. Make it seem like it's a lot.
The illusion. That's what my grandmama did with that Totino's pizza, party pizza. Mm-hmm.
Yep, and he was like, yeah, and the T word that you kept talking about.
The T word.
Yeah,
Tostinos.
Yeah. He probably went into his freezer and had to look at the box real quick. He's like, that's it. That's what it was.
But you know what? When we was all growing up, we called them Tostino party pizzas Tony's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you had to look at the wrapper. I was like, I've been calling them, and I just started calling it Tostino, like just a few years.
Well, I don't know. I mean, because I think it actually have party pizza on there.
Tostino party pizza. Mm-hmm. And it is a party in your mouth. Them things is, like the young kids say, them things busting. Is that the right?
I don't know. Hey, yeah, that's what your young clients, they usually come in. They be teaching you all that cap and no cap stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's get to this part of our show right here. Yes. It is that business time. So for everybody who don't know, we have our little Facebook community. On Facebook, we have our own little community on there called the Dorcha Expansion Community. And on Saturdays, we always tell people, hey, if you have a business or anything like that, please share it with us so we can share it on this platform right here. Because I don't know about you, but I might have good business, but I'm always looking for more. So why not expand that information out there? So I have reached out to a couple people, letting them know that this is what it's all about. The only thing we do ask, the person needs to be part of the community to advertise on there. Because hey, it's our community and we look out for each other. So we want to just we try to keep it in-house a little bit, but at the same time, we also want you to expand your business as well. So the first one we have up, when we start talking about our business opportunities that we have showcased a couple of times on here, is Megan and her Moxie scented candles. Steph, did you ever order yours?
Huh?
Have you ordered yours yet?
I have not. I need to go on and do that because this is, stocking stuffers and, just make the house smell good, warm and inviting.
Well, maybe I'll buy one of them. Maybe this would be your Christmas present.
Okay.
Or I can get you the same thing I got you last year too.
Yeah.
So Miss Megan, she is located in Ramstein, Germany. She sells scented soy wax items like container candles, cooler candles, and wax melts. She also make her own coasters out of plaster, and she do that being eco-conscious. She launched back in August, and even though there have been ups and downs and lots of trial and error, she's very happy on how it's going right now. So, hey, like I said, a lot of people for stocking stuffers, this is one of them great things. And up next, it is Flourishing Hope Counseling. And this is my cousin right here, Angel. She is a licensed professional counselor and life coach based out in Texas. She offers life coaching sessions worldwide. She helps women live more peaceful, courageous lives by teaching self-love, increasing self-confidence, and diminishing fear. She's also written a few books and journals. So make sure you go on her page and check her out, see what she's all about. And up next is Profit First Taxes, and that's Shane. Shane offers tax and accounting service, also help entrepreneurs with paying themselves the correct amount of wages, help with budgeting, assisting in scaling your business beyond 6 and 7 figures, all while keeping you in compliance with legal loopholes. The best part about it is completely virtual, so you never have to leave home, your business, or vacation. So if you want more information about that, please go visit that Shane's website. And for the people that's in the local area here in Memphis, we have Slayed by Adriana. She's an esthetician and lash artist who does makeup application from natural to glam, waxing and skincare in the Memphis area. She is promoting wellness and self-care at reasonable cost while making it convenient for others by providing a serene space or being mobile and coming to you. She also does bridal parties, homecoming proms, etc. And you see her contact information if you need to be slayed by Adriana. Them lashes though, I hope she don't have the big ones, the big butterfly effect going on with folks.
They wasn't working for you.
No, I tried them. Yeah, it really didn't do anything. She said, Carlos said, I'm bussing. I heard 13, she said all the time. So there you go. So I guess you was right.
Yeah, I'm hip.
Okay. So here's another portion of our show that we're going to start adding in here. We got a lot of people that's doing talk shows right now. And this is one of my friends that I met way back, I say probably 20 years ago. She have a little podcast. It's called Eat, Laugh, Hustle. And it's like the podcast, I sat and listened to it. I sat and listened to about 3 shows on there. And I was, even though it's for women, I still like hearing different perspectives. That's what
you cater to women too in your life coaching practice. So
right. So I like to hear what some of the feedback. And I mean, I was sitting up there rolling. I was busting the gut on some things, and then I learned a lot of things as well. So her podcast, it's what she says is it's a podcast that have conversations and confessions that are meant to help you be empowered, inspired, and transformed. Rika promised to embrace her truths, have authentic conversations, and laughter to help refuel and refocus your mind, body, and business. And she is also a business coach and virtual assistant. So if you get a little time and you need something else to do, please go over there and just listen to a couple of little podcasts on there, and I'm quite sure you will be thoroughly enjoyed like I was. And then our last one, we have Mr. Carlos. And this young man right here, he's been with us. He's actually been on the show one time, and he is the 501 Perspective Changer. His show is called Back to the Basics, 2.0, and he streams on Facebook Live every Sunday at 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And this young man, he's a legally blind husband, father, and stand-up comedian whose purpose and passion is to expose the world of how not to trust your eyes, but believe in your vision. And I'm telling you, for the past couple of times on here, especially this week right here, and like he said, it is truly amazing that the same stuff that he was talking about being rooted and planted on his show is basically the same things that we've been discussing on there, across the platforms. So, some people could say, hey, that's coincidence. I'm not going to say it's coincidence. I think this is some of the words that need to be heard from people. And hearing it multiple different ways and multiple different times, maybe telling you something. So,
a few sentences back, you were like, just come on over to our little show. And I was going to bring that up. Don't say little show because, when things are like little.
Oh, my bad.
I'm speaking life over us. So, you know what I'm saying? Because I really feel like we are on assignment.
True.
So when things are starting to line up between what we're talking about and Carlos and just even how we vibe during the week, we're on assignment. So this is purpose driven. So it's not, our little door to expansion community, our little community. This is bigger than us, and we have a message.
Hey, I'm not. You know what? My bad on words. My wordplay. You know me. It's just like the word busy. I hate seeing people say busy.
Mm-hmm.
So Carlos talking about watch out now. That's me. Hey, Carlos, we're gonna kick you off the show if you want to sit there and keep on agreeing with her now. All right, now stop it. But you know what? I think we're gonna next week. I'll just put it out there. We're gonna probably take a break next week, and I'm not even gonna say a break. We're going into the dark next week because we're gonna have a new series coming up, and we're gonna start discussing leadership and entrepreneurship. And I think that's going to be, it's a lot to unravel. So, first we're going to probably do a lot of stuff on talking about leadership, and the leadership just don't have to be at work. I mean, we have people that's leading families. We have people that's leading churches. We have people that's leading at work. We have people that's leading each other. Some people don't even know how to lead themselves. So, that's what we're going to start discussing next week. I think, the week after. And that's going to be our new series that we're going to start. And then we're going to also get into entrepreneurship. I know a lot of people, especially during this time period, you see how many jobs that are vacant right now. A lot of people are leaving for whatever reason. But the biggest thing is, I would say, and I would hope that as you're leaving or exiting your job for whatever reason it is, I'm hoping you're doing something that's going to be productive to you as a person. And that's going to help out everybody else. So like I said, we're gonna be in the dark probably next week, but we will show you a promo on what we're gonna be working on and start our next topic. So get prepared for that. So with that being said, Miss Stephanie,
yes, I'm just gonna repeat just in case the audience didn't hear me the first time. The mindset is orchestrating and initiating perspective. It's modeling perspective. It's responding to perspective and sustaining long-term shifts in perspective. Mindset is about going someplace. It is about bringing the future into view through the acts and choices of today.
All right. And I will leave everybody with this one right here in concern with who I am as a series. To conclude this Who I Am series, if you're not willing to learn, no one can help you. If you're determined to learn, no one can stop you. So with that being said, hey, Stephanie, I think we have reached our time.
We have.
So until next time, my people, it has been real. But we out of here. I guess we out of here.